attention. Then we got into a protracted discussion on what would have been the right thing to do. And I quickly got the impression that the only thing that was important was restitution. Now, if you have a criminal activity, restitution is a nice thing to do. Frequently doesn't happen. And I was assured that restitution would be very, very easy because Mr. Hawkins had all the cards. Not true, Mr. Hawkins didn't have the cards. The prior district secretary and treasurer for District 35, who was elected ultimately to be the leader, the secretary for District 30, had the cards, Mrs. Jennifer Klutz. Why didn't we know what was going on? I'm troubled. Furthermore, when we checked the bank statements confirmed that the funds were withdrawn, and we showed you that last time, on March the 9th, which is consistent with the statement sent to APOC. And furthermore, when the cards were delivered to Mr. Terrianen, he checked what date the cards were activated and learned that only $275 of the cards were activated on March the 9th, not long before the preference poll. The balance of the cards were activated the day they were delivered to Mr. Terrianen, which was December 31st, 2012. Therefore, the cards were not all there, and I think we have Ms. Brown on tape strongly suggesting that they were absolutely intact, none had been used, and they were all in the hands of the new District 30 chairman. I really find it inappropriate to be misled. I look to this body to help resolve this issue. When you do something wrong, that's one thing. When you decide you want to cover it up, that's quite another. Cover-ups led to Nixon's impeachment. Ms. Klutz sent me an attachment, or Mr. Klutz sent me an item which was presented last time, which said that he had $275 in cards left. I just find it very troubling that a person who presents themselves as caring, after I went to the effort to go to Kenai and try to resolve this issue, misrepresented the facts and tried to make sure that I go away, that this was all okay. I went to the Kenai because it just didn't feel right, and I am concerned. I look forward to the Executive Committee reviewing this matter.
Statement, Mr. Ruger?
Yes.
Okay. At this point, Respondent Ms. Debbie Brown has 5 minutes for cross-examination, followed by of Mr. Rudrick's statement and the like. That will be followed by 15 minutes of your presentation, followed by 5 minutes. So I ask you
5
next
minutes for questions.
For questions
Sure.
of Mr. Rudrick.
Mr. Ross has a couple, and then I would maybe.
Perfect. So 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to your 15-minute presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Rudrick, you said you went on help the Brown? Is that what you said?
I told her this was not being filed. I was very clear, but I came down there to try to figure out what was going on. I met with them in Mike Terrianen's office. Mike was constructively busy, so he wasn't in the meeting. I took Steve Straight with me to make a record of the meeting. Last session, there was a great deal of concern about a recording. I would believe that everybody should be telling the truth.
But your testimony, your statement was, I tried to help. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
And that was the 17th of December, 2012?
Yes.
And you thought you could help by recording this?
I didn't suspect the recording would be anything other than a memorialization of a successful effort. I did not expect to find multiple contradictions and conflicts.
But of course you told them that you were recording, right?
I did my utmost to express that. People talked over me. and I didn't go back to re-express them.
How did you tell them that you were recording?
I told him I brought Steve along to make a record of the meeting, and the discussion went into Steve's running for office and many other things, and I admit that I should have restated it, but I cannot believe that somebody would deliberately misrepresent things just because they didn't think it was being recorded.
And it just so happened that you went down there on the 17th of December when you realized that pretty soon Ms. Brown would be the new vice chairman?
Mr. Ross, it took a long time to get documents out of this process. I initially filed an APOC complaint because they told APOC, Mr. Brown, Ms. Brown, that there was no funds, that there was no activity. It was only when they challenged it, because I knew that they had District 2010 unreported revenues. I had no idea what kind of amount of money was involved. And unfortunately, when working with APOC, the term expedited consideration does not apply.
When did you file the APOC complaint?
Months ago, I don't remember, May.
So after filing an APOC complaint, then on the 17th of December, you'd like to...
Mr. Ross, let me remind you that
Let me
most
finish my question.
This is my time.
So on the
to ask-
17th of December, after you had filed a APOC complaint several months earlier, you just kindly went down to try and help them. Is that what you'd like the state committee, executive committee to believe?
Absolutely, because for the prior months, I was very, very busy doing several other things. Number one, working with our candidates in the primary, and then working with our folks in the general election. Then I took 2 weeks and went on vacation, and when I returned, I took this up with APOC to try to get some of the information that they finally had. When it still didn't make sense, I had them ask questions, and then proceeded to try to resolve this matter.
To try and help the Browns.
Yes.
I have a question. My question for you, Mr. Rudrick, is with your spirit of goodwill and help, except for the fact that you were on vacation and very busy, but in your capacity as chairman and your spirit to help, why didn't you help, as you indicate you helped other districts, in helping our district, District 34, understand that 2/3 of the fund balance was to go to District 28 and 1/3 was to go to District 30 until 15 of December. Your help with all the other districts happened
In March.
apparently back when the new district you were assigning new district chairmen, such as what you did without really letting District 34 know. A bit of a side issue here, but it's germane, believe me. I knew that the question is, why didn't you have this spirit of goodwill to help us timely help, instead of coming to the peninsula and having
That's the
us try
5
to
minute time.
remember? Why did you delay till the 15th of December to help?
Getting senators elected was way more important than solving this problem.
Very well.
With that,
Oh.
the secretary's indicated there's, that's 5
Okay.
minutes, but, so, Ms. Brown,
15 minutes.
you have your presentation, 15 minutes followed by his.
Very well. Very well. Okay, so I just want to continue on page 1, because it's very important that this letter be read into the record. And there may be people online.
And we'd like that entire package made a part of the record.
And it was faxed to Alice, I understand, and
And
Alice...
emailed it to the rest
You
of the...
have. So it's possible there are people online. Are there people online?
Are there still people online? This is Vice Chairman Steve Culligan.
Yes.
Thank you for...
This is Rhonda, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to step a little closer to the microphone. Continuing on midway down on page 1 of my letter. In addition to the above Mr. Rudrick makes many statements that misrepresent the truth. These statements are extremely damaging to my reputation and character. Rudrick's unkind and harassing complaint has caused many people intense stress and heartache. The serious nature of statements made in the complaint should not be taken lightly by SEC or SCC members. There is liability risk involved with damaging a person's reputation or character. The Rudrick complaint states that Mrs. Debbie Brown misappropriated these funds. He continues enriching his narrative.
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification.
This is my time, Mr. Rex Shattuck. I have time right now to make my presentation. Please don't rob me of my opportunity for a fair hearing.
Correct. And Mr.
It's got nothing to do with a fair hearing, is all I wanted you to clarify something for me.
I don't think this is the appropriate time.
Yeah,
I don't think this is the appropriate time.
I'll answer that. Mr. Shattuck, we're going to allow her to proceed, her 5 minutes, or 15 minutes, and then we will have our chance to ask questions. And since there's a procedural problem, I've directed the secretary to stop the clock when this interruption changes. Please proceed, Ms. Brown.
I stopped it as soon as he did that. So.
There is liability risk involved with damaging a person's reputation or character. The Rudrick complaint states that Mrs. Debbie Brown misappropriated these funds. He continues enriching his narrative with words to purposefully discredit my character and good name. Slanderous adjectives are used, such as irresponsible management, improper use, material harm, egregious mismanagement. His bullying statements are not founded upon fact. The complaint states that prior to redistricting, District 34 had $707 in its bank account, and these funds should have been split between the two districts, $471 to new District 28 and $235 to new District 30. You'll hear more about that later, how that was distributed as appropriate. Facts. March 10. This is a significant date. March 10, 2012, I was elected bonus vote for new District 30. Previously, I had served as the district vice chair in the former District 34. I was never the treasurer, assistant treasurer, secretary, or chairman of District 34 or 30. My husband, Jack Brown, served as district treasurer for the former District 34. Regardless of these facts, Rudrick claims that I violated ARP Rule, Article 10, Section 1A, in the conduct of her duties as former District 34 vice chair, or...
Really just your husband under the bus.
Excuse me.
Mr. Shattuck, if you allow her 15 minutes, I will stick to the orders of the day and proceed. Thank you.
I'll reread that sentence. Regardless of these facts, Rudrick claims that I violated Rule Article 10, Section 1 in the conduct of her duties as former District 34 Vice Chair, or perhaps as District 30 bonus vote. My response to the complaint. Allegation number 1. Please turn the page to 2, page 2. Top of the page. Allegation. Failing to distribute funds as directed by ARP rules for redistricting. My response. This allegation is false. During the period in question, I was the vice chair of former District 34. On March 10, 2012, I was elected bonus vote for the new District 30. I was never the district treasurer or assistant treasurer. Per ARP rules, the district treasurer is responsible for distributing district funds. Article 4, Section 11 of the ARP rules describes the function of the district treasurer. Please listen. The district treasurer is the district fiscal agent. He deposits district committee funds in a depository designed by the district committee. He informs the district finance committee of funds required for district activities. He disperses funds for expenses.